Hi and Assalamu alaikum. This is your host, Dr. Shazia Nasser. Today we are going to talk about the end of the average brain, how AI is rewriting the future for learning disabilities. Think about the last time you walked into a traditional classroom, the rows of desks, the synchronized ticking of the clock, the single textbook on the table. For over a century, our global education systems have been engineered around a single massive myth, the myth of the average student. But if you're a parent or an educator of a child with a learning disability, whether it's dyslexia, ADHD, dyscalculia, or processing differences, you already know the truth. There is no such thing as an average brain. For decades, we have forced unique multi-dimensional minds into a one-dimensional conveyor belt. If a student couldn't keep up with the reading speed, or struggled to hold a pen, or couldn't sit still for 2 hours, we labeled it a deficit. We focused on fixing the child rather than fixing the design of the environment. But right now, we are living through a massive paradigm shift. Artificial intelligence is completely dismantling that conveyor belt. Today, we are going to talk about how AI is shifting the future of education from standardizing children to personalizing their world, and why this is the greatest equalizer for neurodivergent learners in human history. Now, in traditional special education, we talk a lot about accommodations, giving a student extra time on a test or a separate room to sit in. While well intentioned, accommodations often feel like a band aid. They treat the student's needs as an afterthought, an exception to the rule. AI changes the rules entirely by introducing what we call universal design for learning, driven by intuitive user experiences. Imagine a digital learning environment um, that doesn't care how a traditional textbook is formatted. Instead, it creates what I call a pedagogical loop. When a student with dyslexia opens a lesson, the AI doesn't just hand them text, it immediately reads the room. It activates high level text to speech, alters font spacing, or instantly adapts the text into a vibrant, multi sensory visual map. If a student has dyscalculia, the AI doesn't just mark an answer wrong, it tracks their exact step by step logic, catches the exact moment their spatial processing tripped up, and rebuilds the math problem using visual blocks. The technology isn't a separate tool you turn on, the accessibility is the system. Support is no longer added later. It is built into the very fabric of how information is delivered. Now, let's talk about the barrier that almost everyone slips up on, yet rarely gets enough focus, and that is executive functioning. For many brilliant students with ADHD or autism, the hardest part of school isn't understanding the concept. It's the overwhelm of execution, looking at a blank page and hearing, write a 5 page essay by next Friday, can cause a complete cognitive freeze. The anxiety sets in, the focus shatters, and the student internalizes a belief that they simply aren't smart enough. This is where AI acts as a profound cognitive mirror and assistant. Tools available today don't do the work for the student, they act as an executive coach. A student can talk to an AI assistant and say, I have this big idea about history, but I don't know how to start. The AI instantly takes that overwhelming, massive mountain of a task and breaks it down into micro steps. clear, bite sized, sequential milestones with visual timers. It reduces the initial cognitive load so the student can bypass the executive bottleneck and let their actual intelligence shine. It turns anxiety into agency. Now, whenever I speak about AI in education, parents and educators ask me the exact same anxious question: is technology going to replace human teachers? Are we leaving our vulnerable children to be taught by algorithms? My answer is a resounding no. In fact, it is exactly the opposite. Ask any special education teacher what causes them the most burnout. It's almost never the hours spent looking at a child in the eye and teaching them. It's the crushing weight of legally required data tracking, progress reports, and drafting highly detailed, individualized education programs called the IEPs. Now, recent educational research shows that when special educators use vetted, secure AI platforms to synthesize classroom data and help draft learning goals, the quality of those goals actually they go up. It goes up, while the time spent on administrative drafting plummets. So AI takes the teacher out from behind the laptop screens and puts them back in front of the child. It automates the paperwork so we can maximize human presence, because technology can adopt a text, but it can never provide the empathy, the safe space, and the emotional connection that a neurodivergent child needs to truly heal and thrive. As we look forward towards the future, our goal shouldn't be to use AI to help neurodivergent children blend into an old rigid system. Our goal must be to use AI to build a completely new flexible landscape where their unique ways of thinking are seen as competitive advantage. Because when we design an educational system that works beautifully for a dyslexic or an ADHD mind, we end up creating a clearer, more dynamic, and more inclusive learning experience for every single student. To the parents watching this, your child's brain is not broken. It is simply built for a future that traditional classrooms haven't caught up to yet. And to the educators, you're not alone in this transition. You're being handed the tools to finally deliver on the promise of true individualized identity. Thank you for watching I Am You. If this perspective resonates with you, hit that subscribe button, share this video with a parent or a teacher who needs to hear this today, and leave a comment below. How is technology changing the way your child learns? Let's keep building this inclusive future together. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, Khuda Hafiz. Bye.